Everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Unintangibles. My name is Mo Aurora, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Jeff Shuela. Hello, Jeff. How's it going? Week 9, you ready?
I'm good, man. I can't wait for the second half here. Can't wait to
get it. Jeff, now you got some ideas. Why don't you tell me what you're looking forward to in the second half of the season? You've been thinking about some teams. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so basically there's 3 teams I'm really curious about in terms of real NFL and fantasy as well. The first team I'm very curious about intrigued about is the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
I just think that Cam Newton has his best passing wide receiver core he's had probably ever. McCaffrey is in full gear with, being awesome. Mm-hmm. And I think that their schedule is not bad going forward as well. And I think that the Panthers are a legit team. I think they're going to make some noise. Look, the division is still up for grabs because the Saints are there. The Falcons are just nipping at their heels. But I think that DJ Moore can make a name for himself by the end of the year because I'm not sold completely on Devin Funchess. I think McCaffrey will still be his amazing RB1 self. And, even Greg Olsen got in the end zone last week. So
Two in a row with a touchdown.
Yeah, look, I was listening to this podcast on the couch today with Sigmund Bloom. His guest was Warren Sharp, who's an analytics expert. He does a lot of interesting things with numbers. And the Carolina Panthers have, I think, his number 1 rated schedule for weakest pass defenses for the rest of the year. So, guns blazing for Cam Newton, obviously. And I think he looks good all year. He's looked good. I feel like they've changed the offense a little bit as well. So, what do you think of the Panthers?
I think so. I think he's been. Cam Newton can be a great player. Cam Newton can also cause his own problems, right? I think this year he's been playing like within himself. Does that make sense? And I think the team's doing a good job of managing that. Like, for example, one of the things that we've said with Christian McCaffrey is as good as he is, you can't just hope for regression as far as his touchdowns come because he's not a goal line guy and he's not really a target in the end zone. He has to sort of either be handed the ball or catch the ball and run it across the goal line, right? Which means they have to decide to give him touchdowns. And last game they did. They did that twice, right? And they got creative. They put him in the end zone twice, and that's 2 opportunities to save Cam Newton from having to bash across the goal line. And for fantasy purposes, it's good for McCaffrey, but it's probably good for Cam's longevity and his health and his consistency. I'm sure the abuse that Newton puts himself through with his physical play affects his passing. I'm sure it does because it affects your composure. Like getting hit like that it's not just that it's painful, but there's also an adrenaline rush, right? And it's hard to have the steadiness to throw a pass when you're like coming down from the fact that you just got hit so hard that you could have died. It's like I think, you're right about their depth now. These options at receiver, Olsen seems to be back again, playing within himself. Like, they've been a pretty good team for several years in a row now, and it's not just because of Newton. It's because of the whole team. It's because of Ron Rivera and all that. Like, they really look like they're figuring what to do, and I think they're okay with the fact that New Orleans is a pretty splashy team. Tampa has been really attention getting this year. Even Atlanta. It's like I'm always flattered by the attention that Atlanta gets nationwide. You know what I mean? As an Atlantan, I'm like, because we're just so used to all the teams here being kind of overlooked and but people care about the Falcons. It's interesting. So, but I think Carolina likes being the quiet team that people forget about.
Yeah. Would you be surprised? I just looked it up now. Cam Newton has only been sacked 10 times this year, and he is the tied for 29th, the least sacked quarterback in the league out of maybe 30, over, I'd say 40 quarterbacks that were ranked here.
Yeah, that qualify. Yeah, yeah, that's good. They're protecting him, and he's probably being pretty smart too. You know,
Yeah.
that's good. No, that's a good pick. Who's another team?
The Houston Texans, be only because okay, look, so they got Darius Thomas, but I feel like this is the first time in forever where JJ Watt has not out for the season.
Yeah,
And I feel that the defense, Tyrann Mathieu looks like an animal.
yeah,
And that was a great acquisition. I just feel that if the
great
defense
player.
can stay healthy, I think Watson, they are 5-0 in their last 5 games.
Yeah,
They could make some noise here coming
so.
down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm a believer in Watson. He's sort of like Mahomes stole me from Deshaun Watson, if you will. But I mean, I'm a big believer in Watson, and he's been coming along. He hasn't always he's shown a lot of reason to doubt him, but like, yeah, I think in the second half, like, you know, we talked about it on our last episode. We're excited about Demaryius Thomas coming to Houston for his own sake, but just for Houston overall. I think it's a good pickup. And, you know, yeah, Watson, man, he looks like he is. I don't want to say he looks like he's figuring it out, but like he looks like he's constantly building on every game, you know? And so now he is figuring it out, like he's actively doing it. But like, yeah, man, I really like him, man. I really like his approach. I really like how he goes about doing what he does. Like yeah, I'm impressed. And Lamar Miller, man, Lamar Miller looks good.
Yeah, he's an RB2. He's an RB2 for
yeah, he's okay, fine. Maybe it's like finally people who drafted him are getting his draft value out of him, you know, for the first time in his career. But yeah, they're a good team. They're a good team, and I think they are going to be strong in the second half. I think that's a great pick.
On the contrary, Watson has been sacked the second most times, second most of all quarterbacks, 26 sacks.
Concern. It's a concern. You know, but that's also, yes, we got to be careful with these stats, because you can cherry pick one stat and say, you know, this makes that, but it's like it's a combination of all sorts of stats. You know, there's different aspects of the game. Houston manages to survive their own pass protection to still be a pretty productive offense. You know, imagine if that line improves. Imagine after their bye week how they come back. You know, that's a good pick. Do you have a third?
I do, and I have two teams I wanted to discuss.
You have four. Okay, cool. Yeah,
I have three, but just because I'm really intrigued by Andrew Luck. Obviously,
yeah,
he's awesome. Do you think the Colts can win that division?
Can they win that division?
Yeah, over the Texans.
Well, I gotta look at the standings. It's not even close right now, is it?
We should look at the standings.
Yeah, I think the Colts are like well back right now, man.
Are they well back? So it's just Luck. Luck is playing well. Okay, so Andy,
no, it's not that bad. They're 3-5. They're 3-5.
Yes, they're 2 games back.
Yeah.
I don't think this is Jacksonville's year for some reason. Obviously, we know what the reasons are. Fournette hasn't been healthy. Bortles is more exposed than ever. Tennessee, Are you buying Tennessee at all?
I would say this whole division is a crapshoot. It's wide open, and I would say I can make an argument, like an optimistic argument for all of them. I would believe my argument for the Titans the least of the 4 teams. Yeah, I would say I mean, it's easy to be most optimistic about Houston because they're 5-3. They're because they're in the lead. Jacksonville, I wouldn't give up on yet because Fournette could come back. Hyde could get integrated and be good. They're coming off their bye week. They got all this London shit out of the way. Like, I feel like there's room for them to improve. Indianapolis, Luck does look good. And Luck could still end up being the best quarterback in this division. It's between him and Watson. And they got a little bit of work to do, but I can see the Colts definitely being better than Tennessee the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Tennessee, I don't have much. Unless they had the most productive bye week in like the history of bye weeks. I have the least confidence in them to win this division.
I just feel that Andrew Luck has shut everybody up. All the critics, He's put up an amazing season. I mean, they have protected him. So, like, I have the sack stats in front of me. So he's only been sacked 8 times. So
Wow.
that's great. That's awesome. He's been sacked less than who were we talking about before? Cam Newton. So
Cam Newton, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, the Colts are doing their job by drafting well and having a great O line. So for the future, they look good. But Luck has really, done his part for sure. He's exceeded everyone's expectations, and he obviously he's destroyed his ADP.
Yeah, yeah. And he's got a good supporting cast around him. I mean, like there there's a lot of decent players for him to get the ball to, you know? And could be, man. That division is wide open. That division is really wide open. And I think that so it's easy for me to say Houston's okay. So obviously Houston's a front runner. So let's say I have the most confidence in them running away with it, right? But if I would predict an order of finish, I would say Houston, Tennessee will be fourth. I'm trying to decide between Indianapolis and Jacksonville. I think I think I want to say Jacksonville.
Yeah. Okay.
I think so. I'm not. Look. I'm happy that Luck's good. I'm not ready to say that Indianapolis, the whole team is good.
Look, I'm enjoying talking quarterbacks. So, like, let's say, like, next year, is Andrew Luck a top 5 fantasy quarterback in terms of where he goes in ADP?
Well, presumably, who would be the top 5 next year?
Okay, so that's what I wanted you to ask. So,
Yeah.
I think we could kind of both agree right now. I know that you're probably lean towards Mahomes being number 1.
Yeah, I would.
So, before we continue making this quick list here of all the quarterbacks, is Mahomes going to get exposed this year, or are we going to have some bad Mahomes performances? I mean,
I'm sure we'll have some bad Mahomes. I don't know about bad performances. There might be bad results, but the fact is there is some amount of what Mahomes does and what the Chiefs are doing that is just like only they can do this, right? And like it's the variable is like how successful are they at doing that on that given day, you know? So there's some amount of just like the Chiefs aren't quite the Rams, but they're like pretty special. They're pretty special, you know?
They do play each other this year, by the way. You probably know that they're in Mexico.
That's going to be a CFL game, man. There's going to be like 100 points in that game.
Okay, so look, let me just tell you their schedule the rest of the way. I don't.
Well, okay. So hey, help me out here, because I thought we were talking about next year's top 5 QBs.
Yeah. Okay. I just when Mahomes was going to get challenged, and I mean, I don't know if he's going to get challenged, man. Maybe against the Chargers, his schedule is a joke the rest of the way.
I think so, man. That's the thing. So it would take Mahomes getting exposed for him to not be the number 1 quarterback next year. I think he'd be number 1. Probably Rodgers will be number 2, but I think a strong second half by Watson could put him at number 2.
Okay.
Rodgers would then be 3.
Okay.
And then
Cam?
Luck would be in there. Who would be? Would it be Cam?
Yeah, I think it would be Cam.
Wentz, maybe, if he has a strong second half?
Yeah. I mean, so many quarterbacks. Again, yeah, we won't have – I mean, Matt Ryan won't, but Matt Ryan will once again be considered a top 7 or 8 quarterback.
Yeah, he will. And then whoever goes 2 quarterbacks after him will be like the value quarterback.
Yeah. That's Stafford, basically.
Well,
okay, so this was the other thing I was going to bring up is Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. So Russell Wilson, is he a top 10 ADP next year?
I think if the Seahawks don't, yeah, I think so, because I think he will do what he always does. The Seahawks will do what they always do. They will just gain steam as the second half goes on, and he'll just be able to make things happen. And like they get enough out of Chris Carson in the running and Mike Davis in the running game. They've been doing all this without Baldwin either being healthy or good. And And yeah, I think Russell Wilson just yeah, I think he manages every time, man. Like his second time through the division, I bet you his record is tremendous. Again, and things like that. And I think late season, like it's just I don't know. Maybe it's by design. Maybe because the Seahawks they do this kind of thing on purpose, right? They try to peak late in the year.
Honestly, yeah, that's why I was going to ask you. Do you think he's going to have a second half? Just as he always goes gangbusters in the second half, the last 2-3 years. So
yeah. Again, it's by design, right? That's how the organization does it, and I feel like he's geared up for that. He's been trained to do that his whole career, so it's like that's part of the reason why he is so good second half of the year. I think there are statisticians that will find ways to argue how that's not a thing, it doesn't exist. But at some point, there's a difference between the stats that you infer from something and like the lessons of actually like experiencing it and doing it. Because it takes to do something takes like especially football takes something that none of us know and can understand, and the fact that some people demonstrate an ability to do that at the key time, like people talk about clutch, and then like the clutch has been an argument in sports. People say there's no such thing as clutch statistically, and that may be true or that may be evidence or whatever, but that's because people have the idea of clutch wrong. People think that clutch means people rise to the occasion in big moments. That's not what that is. Clutch is just not shrinking in the moment. Clutch is staying the same all the time, not letting the moment get to you. That's what being clutch is. And Russell Wilson, it is believable to think that Russell Wilson is somebody who stays himself, who stays the same more than other people in big moments. He's been there before. He's won a Super Bowl. He's lost a Super Bowl that he should have won. He by his hand, he lost a Super Bowl. He's experienced. So he's at all these deep playoff runs. He's experienced everything, man.
Yeah, based on what you're saying, so I'll give you a couple of things then. I mean, maybe we buy Doug Baldwin now for the second half. Doug Baldwin or Demaryius Thomas rest of season?
Oh, that's a really good one. That you know what? That could be we could make that our third bet of the year.
I don't even know who. Honestly, I don't know who to bet on. But based on what you're saying here, I'll say
Baldwin. I'll say Baldwin.
Yeah, I was gonna say Baldwin too.
Yeah, because
what he's capable of doing in the second half.
Yeah, room for both of them to go upward, but rather than guess how much each player is going to go up, I just figure. Well, at the start of the season, Baldwin was drafted ahead of Demaryius, and now here they both are having disappointed, but on the way back up. I might as well take the possible upside of Baldwin being better than Demaryius, right?
Let me give you two more.
Yeah,
Baldwin or Sammy Watkins.
See, Watkins is right on the edge there, man, because he's been just good enough for me to think that he can have a strong second half, but he's also just bad enough that if you stick with him, it'll hurt you.
Of course. That's
yeah.
what he does. That's his MO.
That's what? That's the line. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I guess I will say Baldwin only because Kansas City so far, they've performed about as well as I think you can expect. And Watson's been good, but if that's his share, then that's his share. Now, granted, Hill is a little bit banged up, so that might get an extra week or two of Watkins getting a more prominent role. But if it's hard to assume either that the Chiefs' entire offense will grow to the point where Watkins' performance is better, or that just Watkins will somehow like emerge even more out of everybody because everybody's good. There's not that much room.
That's the problem.
It would literally come down to like having to like choosing. Okay, let's give Watkins 5% more of a target share. Like, and I don't think that they'll do that. I think they'll just do what they do.
Yeah, that's a tough one. A tough one. So finally, my last one: Doug Baldwin or your BFF, Josh Gordon.
I'll say Gordon. But I'll say this, though. I'm sitting Gordon this week.
Wow.
I'm sitting behind Watkins.
He ended up starting on Monday, right? You know that.
Yeah, I know. But, like, I don't know. I want to see more, man. Yeah, that's the thing. If his stat line was in 3 quarters, I'd be okay with it. But, like, the fact that he did start, and it's not that, like, it's not anything to do with him. It's just they spread the ball around. They're not making a point of featuring him, I guess. And I guess they don't need him yet to like be a superstar, and they're not making a point to feature him. He's one of many options on that offense. I'll for this, because I have someone like Watkins as an option, I'm going with Watkins over him. But that has more to do with just overall depth at receiver and plenty of options than it does anything about Gordon. It's just Gordon has not been lighting it up so much.
I disagree with your decision to start Watkins over Gordon this week.
Okay. Well, I have time for my mind to be changed, so please.
Yeah, you have lots of time. So Sunday Night Football, it's the Packers and Patriots, and I understand that the Chiefs have I was looking at the Vegas line, and now I don't remember who they're playing, but they have
they're playing Cleveland.
Cleveland. So you have Denzel Ward, who's there, but he's probably going to be with Tyreek. I think
it's also their first game with a brand new coaching staff.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a tough week in Cleveland, I think.
I think it's a ground and pound game for the Chiefs and a little bit of Mahomes here and there. I would like to start Gordon over Watkins in this week, personally.
I guess because you're saying that because it could be a blowout in Cleveland, whereas the Patriots will probably need all of what Josh Gordon can give them.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. You know what? You convinced me. But then how about this then? Josh Gordon, or if he's healthy, Cooper Kupp.
Josh Gordon again. I feel like I'm you now.
Wow. Okay, well, that's good, man. You know what? Maybe I needed that. Maybe I need that from you because I'm just getting impatient now, but I guess you're right. This is as good a week.
Yeah, well, obviously he wasn't benched. He started and like caught the first ball of the game or something.
Yeah,
so
here and like maybe the Patriots weren't even looking for a receiver. They just said they were.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what happened? And maybe if he's late one more time, he gets cut. But
maybe he was never late.
Yeah, maybe there's also a reason they didn't trade Philip Dorsett. So we will see. Yeah. But thanks a lot for having me dive into some of the teams and positions and things to look out for the second.
I mean, thanks for thinking of this stuff, man. This is good. I will say I have not been looking ahead the whole rest of the way like you have in this case, and maybe that's because you're a schedules guy. We all know, and that I think, we can. What's interesting is so now's a good time to start looking at schedules because now we have a better idea of who these teams are, right? So remember we were talking at the beginning of the season. I'm like, I try not to worry about it, during draft time, but now it's starting to be a little bit more helpful, I think.
Yeah, we know who they are, and we know who to pick on. Basically, the Giants pick on Tampa Bay. Those are the teams that we look at. We pick on Buffalo, obviously, and you go from there. You pick on Tennessee, maybe even a little bit, but
yeah, I think so. And so one thing that's interesting is I think I really want the Saints to beat the Rams because I want the Rams game in week 16. I want to make sure that game means something because I am legitimately kind of worried, like, what if Todd Gurley sits my championship week,
No, he's not sitting. They're going to try and get him the record for touchdowns. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, for sure.
What if he gets the record that soon, though?
Which is a possibility.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's an outside chance. Right? And, every time this comes up, at some point I was like, has this ever happened? Like, do we ever actually worry about it? And I guess Zeke sat the second half.
He's not going to sit for 2 weeks, dude. He's going to sit for 1 week, and that'll be that.
I think so, too. Okay.
I can see him sitting for a week, for sure. But I don't think he's going to sit for 2 weeks. No.
I will say, though, in our league, because remember, our league where I'm dominant because I have Gurley and Kamara, and I have Michael Thomas.
Let's not forget the point that you drafted Kamara.
I drafted Kamara. Yeah, that's right. I have Todd Gurley. I have Alvin Kamara, who I drafted and have owned the whole time. I have Michael Thomas. And it's like the way things have been going. So I looked at the standings, right? And yes, my team is really good because of those guys. And yes, I'm the highest scoring. Like it's a very legitimate. I have a very legitimate 7-1 record, right? But I keep talking about how but I'm getting lucky. I'm getting lucky. I have the second lowest points allowed, and I do nothing to make that happen. That has just happened. You know what I mean? So it's like, my one loss was I had a good week, but someone else had a great week.
You'll get strong opponents, I'm sure, at the end of the year. My only question to you is, how did you get Todd Gurley?
Todd Gurley, I traded for in his rookie year. Okay. When I was going to be out of the playoffs, so I tanked my team. I forget who my stud running back was, but I gave away somebody, and I took back Todd Gurley and probably a pick or something like that. And then I wrote out his.
So you had him in the Jeff Fisher years.
So, well, his rookie year he was pretty good. It was the second year that was terrible.
Yeah, great, he was great in his rookie year. Yeah.
But I also keep in mind, before Alvin Kamara, I had David Johnson, who I drafted late, who I held on to all year. Who he didn't even blow up his rookie year, but he sort of won the job at the end of his rookie year. By the end of his rookie year, so I kept him.
It was between him and Chris Johnson. And David Johnson won out.
Yeah, and I kept him. And so I had Gurley and David Johnson one year, thinking now I'm going to dominate. I was okay that year because Gurley was only okay that year. Then last year I had Gurley and Johnson, and I got Kamara, but then David Johnson got hurt.
Yeah,
and then I traded my injured David Johnson away at the trade deadline to get better. But now I have Kerryon Johnson or Nick Chubb. I mean, who knows, man? If I can keep this train going.
Well, you will. You probably will. And that's what smart fantasy players do. They stock up on running backs, get the young running backs, and you try and hold on to them as long as you can, basically. So
I mean, look, I don't know what it is. If it is just luck or if I do have a knack for identifying running backs who will break out, especially in mid and later rounds. I hope it keeps going though. I hope I can keep it up.
Take it. If Elijah McGuire breaks out, then you can say, Jeff, you're a genius.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm talking about guys who were not first-round draft picks, second-round draft picks. I'm talking about guys who might emerge and be the number one running back on their team next year.
But I'm saying David Johnson and Alvin Kamara were I've drafted them in the 15th round in those drafts.
You get props for that. You definitely get props for that. For sure.
Nick Chubb, man. Nick Chubb was late. I said all year, Nick Chubb was the wedge rookie running back. He was the maximum as far as potential versus draft position.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb is the wedge, man. You got to find that value.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you. I have him in the FFPC.
Yeah. So I gotta keep it up. I got to find next year's Kerryon, next year's Nick Chubb. Let's see.
That's enough running back talk.
Let's get enough praising Mo talk.
Get out of here.
Anything else?
No, that's it, man. I brought up who I wanted to bring up, and good luck in week 9.
Yes, good luck in week 9, everybody. Hope you enjoyed all of the content that we've been putting out this week. We've been recording more and splicing it up and putting it up more often. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully it makes more people watch it. More people want to comment. Maybe at some point, if you're listening to 5 or 6 or 10 hour-long fantasy football podcasts that are each an hour about the whole league, maybe you get tired of it. Maybe you just care about the players you care about. So, let us know. Let us know. Those are our ideas anyway. But we appreciate you for watching. We appreciate everything you do. So, let's keep it going. Enjoy week 9. Good luck. And, Jeff, are we good? We're ready to get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we're good.
Right, sounds good. Thank you very much for watching another episode of The Unintangible. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back again constantly. We'll see you then.